What's good, rail fans? This week we'll be exploring the long, fascinating story of the Pennsylvania Railroad 6755.
Bro, put a belt right to they behind the way that switch. I know he dying. 6-7.
All jokes aside, the 6755 is the most iconic steam locomotive preserved in the United States, and it's the poster child of the channel. Over the next 15 minutes, we'll trace its origins, the context of its design, its role in the mighty Pennsylvania Railroad, and finally, how it came to rest at the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania, where it continues to represent the height of American steam engineering. Often called the standard railroad of the world, by the 1920s, the Pennsy was hauling enormous amounts of freight. Coal, steel, manufactured goods, agricultural products, everything flowed through its network. It had the busiest main line in North America. Part of that was in central Pennsylvania, from Harrisburg all the way up through the mountains toward Altoona and the mighty Horseshoe Curve. The Pennsy needed locomotives that were stronger, faster, and more efficient than its older consolidations and Mikados that had been the workhorses for years. As a result, its mechanical department, working with the Juniata shops in Altoona, began developing a new heavy mixed traffic locomotive. Their goal was a machine that could haul fast freight, helper service, and even passenger service if needed. Their efforts gained rise to one of the most successful locomotive classes in Pennsy history, the M1 class 482 Mountain Type. This batch of M1s appeared in the mid-1920s. These locomotives quickly proved themselves as powerful, well-balanced, and capable of hauling almost anything that Pennsy threw at them. With 72-inch drivers and a large boiler, the M1s could run fast, pull heavy tonnage, and climb grades without needing constant double heading. Because of the success, the Pensy's Juniata shops and the Baldwin Locomotive Works built additional variants, including the M1A, an updated version with improved appearances, a Worthington feed water heater, larger tenor, and refinements to the boiler and steam circuit. The 6755 rolled out of the Pennsylvania Railroad's Juniata shops in Altoona in 1930 as part of a group of M1A locomotives constructed during a major fleet expansion. What makes the M1A class and the 6755 especially interesting is that these locomotives were entirely designed in-house. Pennsy was proud of its ability to engineer and build its own equipment, and the Juniata shops were among the most sophisticated locomotive works in the world. As built, the 6755 features a 482 reel arrangement, giving it good stability and speed, a boiler pressure of 250 psi, a tractive effort of over 640,000 pounds, 72-inch drivers for high-speed freight service, a Worthington feed water heater for increased efficiency, and a large 210F tender, also known as a coast-to-coast tender, capable of carrying enough water and coal for mountain runs. From the moment it entered service, the 6755 represented an ideal construction of power, balance, and mechanical elegance that defined the Pennsy steam roster. During its active years, the 6755 served across the Middle Division and the Pittsburgh Division, two of the heaviest freight corridors in the country, worked trains across the spine of the Alleghenies from Harrisburg toward Altoona and beyond into western regions of Pennsylvania. The jobs the 6755 performed varied widely. The Pennsy relied on M1 and M1A locomotives to haul high-speed freight trains. These weren't slow drags. These often hit speeds over 50 miles per hour while carrying tons of cargo, including perishables, steel products, manufactured goods, and more. Also, on the steep grades around Altoona and the Horseshoe Curve, locomotives like 6755 were occasionally used in helper service, shoving trains up mountain grades. Their power and reliability made them ideal for this demanding work. While the M1s were designed primarily for freight, the Pennsy wasn't afraid to use them in passenger service when needed. They occasionally hauled troop trains, extra supplies, and mail trains, especially during war times. During World War II, locomotives like 6755 became essential. The Pennsy moved massive quantities of war materials, soldiers, and supplies. The M1A fleet was pushed to its limit, running almost consistently to meet national demand. In the late 1940s, the Pennsy was looking to improve its existing steam fleet. Some of the M1A locomotives were upgraded to become M1B locomotives. These conversions included significant boiler reinforcements, cross-counterbalance changes, and improved steaming capability. These upgrades allowed the locomotives to generate more power and haul heavier loads efficiently. Although the 6755 did not receive a full M1B conversion, it remained an M1A for its entire career. As it went in and out of the back shops for routine maintenance, it did receive some of these modifications. By the end of the 1940s, however, dieselization began to spread across the Pennsy system. Freight locomotives like the EMD F7 and the Baldwin road units began taking over assignments once held by the proud M1 family. The Pennsylvania Railroad was aggressive when replacing steam locomotives. By the mid-1950s, the M1A fleet was beginning to retire one by one. Many were scrapped almost immediately due to the railroad's rapid dieselization. But the 6755 was one of the lucky ones. Recognizing the historical significance of the M1 family, the Pennsy selected the 6755 to be preserved. It was officially retired from service and set aside for display purposes. For several years, and remained in storage in Altoona along with other locomotives slated for preservation. Eventually, it was transferred to the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania in Strasburg, where it became one of the museum's core locomotive exhibits. Today, the Pennsylvania Railroad 6755 stands proudly at the museum's outdoor display yard. Although exposed to the elements for many decades, the locomotive remains a massive part of the collection. It remains one of the largest steam locomotives on display in the state and is an essential part of the museum's mission to preserve Pennsylvania rail heritage. Visitors often notice several things when they first see the 6755. Its sheer size, at nearly 109 feet long including its tender, and a weight of over 385,000 pounds, the locomotive dominates everything else in the yard. Sitting next to it, you can sense its sheer power required to move long, heavy freight trains throughout the entire region. The keystone number plate, the large square tender, and the graceful lines that the boiler reflects Pennsylvania Railroad's unique design language. Functional, strong, and unmistakably Pennsy. 6755 sits near other legendary locomotives. Pennsylvania Railroad 543, a massive J1 210 Fort Texas type. Together they represented the height of Pennsylvania Railroad steam development and the incredible engineering that defined the railroad during its golden age. Because the 6755 has spent many years outside, it's faced wear and tear from the weather. It has experienced paint deterioration and metal corrosion and the typical aging experienced on steam locomotives in the outdoors. There's an ongoing discussion among museum staff and rail preservation to support the idea to restore the locomotive cosmetically. Even a cosmetic restoration would require significant funding, specialized labor, and a long-term plan to stabilize the locomotive, especially its tender and running gear. Despite these challenges, the 6755 remains suitably intact, and the historical importance ensured that it will remain a preserved artifact representing the Pennsylvania Railroad's engineering excellence. The Pennsylvania Railroad 6755 is not just a big steam locomotive. It's a symbol of the industrial power of the early 20th century, the industrial integrity of the Pennsylvania Railroad, the hard work of the men and women who built, maintained, and operated steam locomotives, the transfer from steam to diesel, and the importance of the preservation of technological history. As one of the last surviving examples of the M1A class, 6755 stands as a rare link to the time when steam powered the entire region's economy. The story of the Pennsylvania Railroad 6755 is a story of innovation, endurance, and preservation. From its birth in the Juniata shops to the hard work it served across the Alleghenies, and finally its home at the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania, the 67 reflects a chapter of American railroading that shaped our nation's transportation history. Thank you for joining me today on this journey, and I hope this video has helped you bring the important legacy of the 6755 to life.